At the start of the second campaign for the first anniversary event in Umamusume, they will be selling a guaranteed paid ticket selector for an Uma that costs 20 bucks each. This big ticket will let you choose any SSR Uma up until the New Year Opera banner. Yes, and that means every Uma that comes before that, including the strong Umas like Christmas Ogre, Summer Marsensky, they are all included in this big ticket. In this video, I will be discussing which UMA is worth to pick from the ticket if you are still weighing your options. I'll break it down to you in categories to make it simpler for you when deciding which UMA will benefit more into your account. And I'll also provide you with some insights on why I think if it's best to hold off to spend the ticket on a certain UMA. Let's start with the most important section, which is acceleration. Umamusume is an acceleration game, and anybody who tells you otherwise is trying to make you lose. It's like the most important skill to win in the last bird position. We have four candidates to pick from the big ticket, which are Major Dober, Seiyun Sky, Marzensky, and Taiki Shuttle. Each of these units inherit is designed specifically for each style, so you do not need to get them all if you personally like a certain style. Seiyun Sky is designed for the frontrunners, Taiki is for the pace chasers, Major Dober is for late surger, and Marzensky, well, she is kind of flexible for all styles. However, personally, the only Uma that I would say is really worth it from this for Uma is Major Dober. So wait, Tordil, do you mean I do not need to get Saiyan Sky and Taiki Shuttle? Are you saying that? Well, no. I just want to bring up this point because it's really important. During the fourth campaign, we'll be getting daily regen races, and with that comes 5 patches of Uma, and inside it will include Taiki Shuttle. And yes, you can farm these star pieces. Yes, it's permanent and free. You can unlock the exploration unit for free if you collect 150 pieces. I'm not sure about the condition of your account, but I have been playing since almost the start of the game, and if we take a look at the condition of my star pieces, I have like 107 shards for Taiki Shuttle. That means roughly I only need to farm it for like a month to unlock Taiki from the daily regen races. You might even have more in your account if you have been purchasing it from the daily shops. This also applies the same to the other Umas like Marzensky and Saiyan Sky. If you have been buying their shards from the shop, you might even have more shards than me. And if we take a look at the amount of the shards that we have, it will only take roughly a month to farm from there to unlock these Umas for free. Marzensky comes on the 6th patch update for the daily regen races, and Saiyan Sky comes from the 7th batch update for the daily regen races. So if you are really patient, you can get both of these Uma from the daily regen race a couple months from now. But if you are impatient, then definitely you can also just ticket them. So from this list, I would recommend Majuro Dober and Saiyan Sky. I hope this helps you open up your option on getting the more important Umas that I will discuss in the next few sections. The next section comes the Speed Inherit Umas. This will become more and more relevant once we have more skill points from these scenarios, where you want your Uma to run faster than your opponent Umas. The list starts from the top. The newly released New Year Opera O is one of the best for this, and it is still even used currently in the Japanese version. Let's take a look at why this unique is really good for a speed inherit. First of all, before that though, the easy way to see if inherit is better than other is if it provides 2.5% target speed increase instead of the normal 1.5% target speed increase. And the next point is how easy to activate the unique is. New Year's Opera O Unique is currently one of the best speed inherit and is still used in the JP version simply because the easy activation of the skill. If you inherit the skill on front or base chaser, you are almost already guaranteed to activate the skill being above the fourth position. And the requirements to make it 2.5% speed is simply activating 7 skills, which will become easier and easier as the scenario goes on and we can pick up more skills. If you check the affinity of Opera O with all the other Uma as well, this Uma have a really good affinity with pretty much most of the Uma out there, making her one of the best parents as well. The second best speed inherit you can grab right now is Ogrecap, the OG version. Trombone Pulse is a really straightforward skill, just be in the second to fifth position, with 200 meters remaining and you will get a 2.5% speed increase. This can work pretty much for any style as you will be competing for the last spurt to win. Ogre is also a pretty decent ace that can run both the third and turf track if you need a pretty generic consistent Uma on your roster. She is very easy to build with her 20% speed and 10% power bonus. On the parent side, which is I'm emphasizing on, why to pick this Uma is also her good affinity with most of the Uma. Similar to Opera O, Ogre has a pretty good affinity with most of the Umas out there. Next on the list, we have Fuji Kiseki. Fuji's unique is really similar to that of Ogre Cap. You need to be in the very front above the third position with an Uma behind you to activate this skill, and it will also give you 2.5% speed increase. Out of the three we mentioned before, this is one of the more harder skills to activate. In JP, this skill is buff, making the precondition simpler and will just activate on the 300 meters mark. One more thing about the disadvantage of Fujikiseki is her affinity with other Uma. If you see the list of affinities she is very good, it is actually not that much. And definitely the list of the Uma is not the best, but definitely still workable. Naruto Brian is next on the list for the Speed Inherit. Shadow Break is one of the Speed Inherit that has 2.5% speed increase. However, this skill is not that very straightforward and are favored on certain tracks more than other. To activate this skill, you need to do an overtake on the final corner. And if the final corner is not lined up with like the acceleration zones, it's harder to do an overtake because you need to rely on your middle leg skill procs to activate this unique. There is also a precondition on being blocked on the side on the middle leg to get the bonus speed, otherwise this skill only gives you a 1.5% speed increase. I don't really recommend it as there are better and easier options like Ogre Cap and the New Year Opera O with easier condition to activate, but I'm just putting it as one of the options to consider. McQueen and Rudolph has also good speed inherit that is pretty easy to activate. With McQueen, you just need to be in the front of the pack, and Rudolph, you only need to do a 3-person overtake. However, there will be these daily region races that I have mentioned before coming up for these UMA 2 on the 4th campaign, meaning you can just grab them from the star pieces if you really want it, and it is not worth it to use this ticket on them. The same also applies for Fujikiseki that comes on the 6th batch of the daily region races. These three Umas lose in value if you directly grab them from the tickets. I also want to include that at the end of the day, you only need 2 speed inherit Uma at max, as one of them will be an acceleration inherit. Currently in global, the main parent inherit will still always be an acceleration inherit, so you do not need to go overboard and grab every speed inherit in the game. If you have a Greek cap and another speed inherit, then you are likely more than fine and it's more than enough. I would highly recommend your Opera O from this if you have to pick one out of all the Uma in the list, as it's one of the best inherit with the easiest activation and longevity as well. Next on the UMA ticket recommendation, I'll be discussing UMA based on their power, or well, you can say meta relevancy. There's no doubt that on this list, Christmas Ogre will come up. Anyone that say Christmas Ogre is bad must be out of their mind. This UMA have the most busted unique currently in the game. If you activate 3 recovery, which you can control the activation timing by the way, it will give you speed, acceleration, and stamina recovery. This is an Uma at its peak design. You can manipulate however you see fit on her style to make her work. You can make her as a frontrunner, as a base chaser, late surger, and even an closer. She just works and it's insane. I think if you are a meta slave, you'll 100% want to have this Uma in your account. She is just that good and broken. If you have recently picked up Valentine Bourbon and you don't have a partner for her to run it, then you will definitely need to grab Summer Marisensky. Even though people will say that she is outdated and she is not that strong, it doesn't change the fact that she is very flexible to build and can fit on any distance track to help make Valentine Bourbon work and win the game. However, if you are considering to make her work as a solo ace, I don't really see that much of a strong case to support this point. She is there mainly to help other frontrunners, specifically Valentine Bourbon. Also, due to their very good affinity to make parent looping really braindead with Saiyan Sky 2, I highly recommend to get Summer Marsensky if you have Valentine Bourbon. Next up on the list is Agnes Digital. If you don't know which UMA to add to your roster and you are also in need of a third UMA, definitely grab Agnes Digital. She is very flexible in terms of surface aptitude, you can run her both in turf and dirt, and not only that, she is pretty easy to build. I really love her stats spread, she has everything besides gut and that means every click on every training are boosted besides gut. You can also build her as pace, late, or encloser, depending on how you feel like, but mostly as late surger or encloser to take full advantage of her unique needing to pass two Umas. She also have good innate kit skills like super stand and bunch of speed skills to help her win the game. I also highly value Silent Suzuka simply because she is a runway Uma and opens up a lot of new setups and is a really strong ace herself. However, since Silent Suzuka is available from the daily region race as well, I do not recommend getting it from the ticket. I'm including an honorable mention section here because these UMA have some niche use cases but I think are worth mentioning. These two are Mami Creek and Hishi Akebono. Mami Creek, as we all know, is a good inherit for acceleration on the same track where our Condor Pasa's unique is good. That is, when the spurt starts on a straight. Her purpose is solely to be a parent inherit. If you are interested in making a parent of Mami Creek to help the community, then go for it. As for me, I'll just be pouring it via the rental feature because I cannot be bothered. Hishi Akebono is a really strong sprinter. If you're looking to dominate the sprint distance, I think she's worth to pick up. But again, nobody cares about the sprint CMs, so yeah. Hishiake Bono will also get better when the Evolve skill is introduced, as you can upgrade the Gorman recovery skill into a speed skill that gives you 5.5% speed increase. I also want to include here that you should pick your favorite Uma or Oshi above all the meta and all that. If it will let you enjoy the game more, I don't see any reason why you should follow the meta. People have been running their Oshi and are winning CMs and have crazy win rate just fine. For example, in the JB server, there's this guy called Lex, and he mains Sakura Chiono and have been running it for every CMs and are achieving crazy results with over 70% win rate every CM. Mind you, the meta Uma in JP have even more crazier skills and this guy right here is still competing with a very outdated Uma and is winning those CMs. Anyway, that's all for this video and as always, thanks for watching and I'll catch you guys in the next one.